How do we get here? How do we allow this to happen for so long, unchecked, unquestioned, unchallenged?
People got busy working and making babies, and they forgot to be a part of their communities. They forgot to assemble. They forgot to hold people. You cannot, as a parent, you can't let them get away with the first thing. That's where it starts. It's that very first thing. If you don't stop it and nip it in the bud in the beginning, they got away with that, and then they're going to get away with this, and then this. Unfortunately for you and I in our generation, this has been going on since 1913, as you know. The crimes against money started pretty much then. Prior to that, the dollar was worth $1. All you got to do is look from that date to now, it's almost worthless. It all starts from the money and the abuse of it and the control, again. They print more money, they have the ability to do so, and they can control and corrupt anybody in the world. Foreign aid comes to mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So how did it happen? You know, it's just like boiling a frog, right? Yeah, pretty slow. But it happened long before we were born. Yeah, long before.
But people like you and I were able to sort of take 5 steps backwards and realize things are not exactly what they seem to be, and we were able to become assholes.
Right.
Okay, are you an asshole?
Pretty much.
So am I.
Yeah.
I ask a lot of questions.
I challenged authority my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we started to ask questions, and then we started to get together with like-minded people, and we started comparing notes, and they hate that, which is assembly, right? They hate
That's
that.
right. Yeah.
You know, we've become, that's why I think our channels are being censored. Now, I would love nothing more than the Donald Trump come down with the kibosh on YouTube, on Rumble, on Instagram, on TikTok, on all of them. Because we should be able to grow unimpeded. Listen, if the market unimpeded without anybody playing any games says that, you know, Alan from Staple Crew is allowed to be million people watching him or 10 million people watching you, you should be able to achieve that without anybody impeding on that.
Totally agree.
Right?
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, there should be some kind of monetary compensation, if you will, at some point down the road.
Yes.
When the timing is right. Everything's about timing.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, look at the timing right now. We're here celebrating, the proper party.
Yeah.
And we're looking at a $2.13 XRP, which is ridiculous. You and I know it should be much more than that.
Yeah.
Okay?
One of my favorite ideas, it's not an idea that's original to me or anything else, and I think you'll go along with this one. I know this is where we're headed with social media. I think Elon Musk is the man to pull this off. If YouTube, Google, actually cared about what they're doing and the people, okay? This is just a very simple, basic idea. You're the content provider. You get 34%. The commercial watcher gets 34%, right? Google gets 34%. Their business would absolutely explode because people would sit through those commercials because they like the content and they're getting paid to watch it.
Yeah.
That is your simple answer to the future of decentralization in all forms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing, I'm very resentful, but I don't have any hatred towards these people, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I do see, first of all, I know you and I both know that we live on a planet that's got 8 billion people, and there's enough for it to go around for everybody.
Yes.
But even though we're fighting an entity called YouTube or Instagram, Rumble, because they're not allowing us to grow to the fullest level of our potential. We also got, even though you can't see it, you could sort of detect it, because we were all born at night, but not last night.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is there's inside competition within the podcasting community. We don't want to expose that guy. We don't want to expose Alan because Alan's got too much talent. He's got too much charisma. If we expose Alan, he might become bigger than us. That's going on. You know it is. I know it is. I can feel it, even though I won't mention any names. But at one point I will, when I can, because I want to, and I will.
Okay.
I will when the time is right.
Okay. All right.
But right now we
I'd
won't
like to
do
hear
that.
about maybe after the show.
Off the camera.
Yeah, I'm pretty fortunate to be in the shoes I'm in. I love what I do, so I don't try to sling too much mud around.
I don't either, but there's, think about this for a second. You're a successful podcaster, and and I'm a successful podcaster. He's a successful podcaster. Todd over here is a successful podcaster. Should be.
Yeah.
But, right?
Yeah.
And you got an audience. I have an audience. We all have an audience.
Right.
There are people in your audience, right? Let's say the rules were fair and square. We allowed to grow and there are people in your audience that would love Mel Carmine, vice versa. There are people in my audience that would love you, and there are people that would love Todd, and so on. And it's cross pollination.
Yes.
And I don't understand what it's going to take for the XRP community, the Bitcoin community, the Ethereum community. It doesn't matter what community, to understand that that's a fact.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And we would all be much
agree
bigger.
with that.
At least say, okay, you know what? We got YouTube against us. They don't want us to grow, but at least we're working together and we're able to grow because we're collaborating and we understand the importance of cross-pollination. Nobody gets that. What do you think? Why do you think that is? I mean, why do you think these people have a chicken brain? And again, I don't want to insult chickens. You know, I know a few chickens that are pretty smart out there.
It's a nuance in the industry that you don't understand until you're standing in you and I's shoes. Mm-hmm. And then you witness it live.
You understand.
I do.
And it's true. And it's real.
Yeah.
Can you admit to that on camera, that it's real?
It's real. Yeah. It's real in the sense that I've done a bit of homework on it. And every time it comes up the same way. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, if you talk about this, you're not going to get anything there. No, I thought that's all it was in the beginning. But I hired a very brilliant young lady to help me with my channel. And she's done 7 or 8 different channels. She said, oh, I've seen this before. There's code for thee and code for those. And essentially, it's out there. You can find that. She's really sharp. I couldn't tell you what it is, but it does exist to some degree. The other thing I'd like to say is there's no reason that we shouldn't cross-pollinate, obviously. Because every time I go to somebody else's show, like yours or someone else, I don't do a lot of interviews. I really don't. But when I do, I get so many people that pour in because they're like, wow, I have never even heard of you before. Where are you? Well, that can't be. I mean, I've made 500 videos, and most of them are about XRP. How would they have not even known who I was?
Exactly my point.
Yeah, right. So that doesn't make math sense. Correct. Yeah.
How do we correct this, do you think? I mean, do you think that we can figure out a way to really get to the community and say, guys, it's bad enough we're dealing with a new world order that's still very much alive. Yeah. It's bad enough that we're dealing with a Marxist company like YouTube, which is very much alive, which is trying to censor our speech, which is stifling the amount of views we're getting because they don't have any interest in the deplorables out there becoming wealthy. God forbid, 10 new people this week find out about XRP and they see eye to eye like you and I, and they have the wherewithal to be able to invest in 10 new people they don't want a new ruling class. I really believe that they want to be in power of us forever. They want to be able to control us, but they don't have any interest in us controlling them, and they see the tide turning, and they're doing everything in their power to try and stop it.
To some degree, yeah. I'm sure you were around back then, but there was a Wall Street Journal came out, I think it was late 2016, about Chris Larson going to be the wealthiest man in the world.
Correct.
And virtually weeks later, it crashed. Because would they want the wealthiest man in the world to be a guy who owns crypto?
Of course not.
Probably not, right? So from that day forward, XRP has not ever, just recently reached that height again. Mm-hmm. So you and I know that there were powers that be that held that back. The SEC came like a pit bull after XRP, and it didn't for many other coins. We all seen the movie. We all understand there's a lot of things, moving parts. My issue is it's fairly corrupt. In other words, the deals behind the doors are happening everywhere, in every company, in every level. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. It's so interesting to me when I live abroad. I lived abroad a lot for many years. And when I come back, I talk to people that have never traveled outside this country. And they also say to me, wow, gosh, you were in Mexico. Isn't that dangerous down there? I mean, isn't it corrupt?
No less than Miami.
And you've got to wonder where, you've got to wonder where these countries learned the word corrupt or the use skill of it.
Yeah.
I beg to offer anyone that doesn't understand where it was created, I'd have to say somewhere in, I don't know, London?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Would be a good place to start.
How do you think they are controlling the price of XRP? I mean, I'm sure you have your take on it. I know I have my take on it. I mean, there's no way that someone could sit here and look at me and you square in the eye and say, yeah, $2.13, that's all it is.
Fair value.
Right, fair value.
Yeah.
I don't buy that for a second. Who are the whales? I think the whales are, this is what my opinion is, let's see if you agree or disagree or maybe have a different take. But who are the whales that are moving in a massive amount of money just at the right time and exiting just the right? Are they in communication? Do they call these guys on the phone? Okay, guys, go in. And they get the price from 213 to 265. Okay, guys, go out.
Yeah.
Is there something like that going on? I believe there is.
It's hard to say that there isn't, but on the other hand, from what I know about, I was a Forex trader for many years at a high level. So no, I know there wasn't, but I do know this. There's a over-the-counter market. There's a futures market, right, overseas. And they manipulate those markets by purchasing those coins in the paper market and selling them on the physical exchanges. That is happening to some degree, of course. I called many friends. There's a couple of people here in the room that I called in October, and I said XRP is about to fly.
Right.
How did I know it was going to go? I knew it was going to go because I knew the 3 institutions that were about to buy it. If you look at the way it went up in those 2 or 3 months, that was all institutional money, all of it. Okay? So now that institutional money stair-stepped the price all the way up to its previous all-time high, you have to say, okay, well, why would it come back down if institutional money? Because let's face facts, you and I, we're up to here. We don't have any dry powder left. The XRP people are in, right? We didn't get new adoption from the public. So why is the public selling it? No. So there is manipulation happening to some degree. They bought it up to sell it down to some degree. But I'm not going to say that those people are without coins or without the ability to get XRP coins at the drop of a hat, because they don't ever want that avenue to shut. They don't want that door to, when the music stops, they know they have to have a stool for that coin. Yeah, for sure. I hope I answered the question.
No, I think you did. I think you did, and you answered it well, actually. But my question to you is, when do the musical chairs stop? At what point do the guys who are manipulating the price right now are no longer in control, because the institutional money, no doubt, is here? It's not right now, it's still a dress rehearsal. But it's no longer a dress rehearsal, and it's really a go time, and you and I will have no control over that. Someone else, whether it's BNY Mellon, State Street, Vanguard, BlackRock, Citibank, Wells Fargo, whoever, the Trumps, when that day arrives, you'll know. But I think for the masses to come, you have to simplify it. You cannot have it so complicated with wallets. I mean, the average person right now, I'm lucky. I got my wife. She's 20 years younger than me. She's a computer nerd.
Right.
I'm a mouthpiece, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is,
you and I are just 2 chimps behind a microphone.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, I know enough to be dangerous, and I'm glad I have her, because then I can concentrate on other stuff. But the reality is, I see this as clear as day. I see that there'll be a day where the MasterCard, Visa, debit card, credit card, bank account, where they're going to custodial your money. They're going to have a retina eye scan. They're going to have some biometrics,
Lord,
security protocol in place, so to make sure that it's you, that no one can steal your money. They got to make it, tighter than Fort Knox on steroids. Okay.
Yeah.
They got to be. It's got to be as tight as a frog's asshole. Okay. I hate to use the terminology, but that's what it's got to be.
Yeah.
When that day arrives, and the average Joe Jane can have their custodialship at Bank of America, Wells Fargo, everything's running on the blockchain, everything's smooth. We've already moved trillions of dollars. We're going to move quadrillions. When that day arrives, Is that the day that XRP and all of the institutions are in, whether it's ETFs, BlackRock, all of the major players,
No.
and it's really go time, and you can custodial your money in, and it's all run on the blockchain. You can't see it running in the background, but it's all being run on the blockchain. Is that the day where
No.
we have $2,000 XRP?
No. Well, there's two answers to that question. And the first answer is kind of lengthy, so I'll get that one first. No is the answer to that. And the reason why I say that is because long back with October that I was telling you about, I wasn't the only person that knew that big banking were buying the coin or about to buy the coin. Mm-hmm. Well, how did I find out? I found out for somebody who told me.
Right.
The worst people at keeping a secret are government officials. So when they know something, adoption's coming along, Nancy Pelosi got rich. She's not a great trader. We all know that. So they hear about it at this level. Well, they tell the people below them and the below them and the below thems. So you're going to know that it's going to be completely locked in, adopted somewhere between 6 months, 6 weeks to 6 months before, because it's going to do that stair step thing, and it's just going to keep climbing. Okay? It's just going to keep climbing. And what that means is all the people that know that you're going to that system are getting in while the getting's good, because they weren't early adopters like you and I. The second answer to your question is one that I work long and hard on. And there's some great work out there. Molly and Jimmy Valley have done a lot of work on this kind of thing. And essentially it's, well, if you're going to use that for this and equating the value of all these other things, the other one could happen like banks close on a Friday, Monday's a holiday, Tuesday morning it's $1,000 or whatever the number might be that they need it to be at. Not unlike what I think they're going to do very shortly with gold. We're going to wake up out of bed one day and gold's going to be, well, it's already being counted at $74, and it's actually $3,000 in the market.
And change.
Yeah, so they need that number to be higher. And that's what will happen. So it's one of those two things, in particular with XRP.
So you don't think it's going to happen fast? You think it's going to happen slow over a period of what time?
Well, the first answer was somewhere between 6 weeks to 6 months when it happens. Mm-hmm. Okay. And obviously there's ISO to be spoken for and all the rest of that. I've read hundreds, if not thousands of documents about all of that material. And most of that has dates of 26 on it. There's some great people, great channels. And if you know who Mr. Mann is, he does an incredible job of research on that, all that. So I wouldn't want to quote any of his stuff, but he does a lot of research on the adoption of when they have to use it.
Right.
That hard date.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's bounce back. I want to go back to Trump.
Okay.
Trump could have very easily retired. He's a multi-billionaire, lost $4 billion becoming president on his first term. We know that. Mm-hmm. That's documented. Mm-hmm. Still a multi-billionaire. He could have very easily just said, you know what, screw this. You guys messed this up. I'm leaving. I'm taking my kids. I'm going to buy an island. I'm going to go create my own little world and done. But even he knows, this is where I say, because I try to look at the cookie crumbling from many different angles. Mm-hmm. Even he knows that there would be no future for his grandsons, his nieces, his sons and daughters. Those grandsons and nieces at some point are going to grow up to be older and have families, etc. And there'll be no future for everybody. So somebody had to step in and fix this. The fact that he didn't do that, the fact that they're running on this crypto thing and they're hard on it, the fact that they chose XRP first, Solana second, Cardano third as the reserve, and then they said, oh, by the way, we forgot, using the word forgot with an emphasis, about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Does that word forgot means that maybe we should forget about it too?
That's a hard one for me because I don't believe that to be true.
What value does Bitcoin have?
That's a long answer.
Give it to me, baby.
And it's an XRP show.
Give it to me, baby.
Bitcoin's best value is it's a perfect replacement for gold. It's not much good at anything else, to be honest. It's really good at that. It's just like gold. You got to mine out of the ground. It takes a lot of electricity, but once it's all mined, it's just going to be in a pile in a vault somewhere. But that gives nation states power and energy. So I predicted many years ago that there would first be an industrial boom with this bull market.
Right.
And then the next bull market would be government's buying coins.
Right.
I screwed that prediction up because governments are buying Bitcoin and governments are buying institutional coins right now for use case. So Bitcoin offers an opportunity for an arms race, if you will, because it takes electricity, because there's only 1 million coins left, and it's going to take 120 years for them to mine the rest of them. So that's the slow turtle hair race thing that a lot of people miss. They want security. They want to know that it's stable and solid. They don't care how fast it is. They don't care about getting rich. Wealthy, most people will get this one. Billionaires and governments don't care about getting rich. They want to keep what they got. So what's the most safe thing for them to do? Dominate the Bitcoin market.
Right.
And the more people that get in, the more money that gets into it, the more secure that network becomes, as you know. It becomes more and more secure. So security-wise, proof of work is more secure, in my opinion. Because proof of stake, and I know XRP is not proof of stake, but it is online all the time. And the perfect way to get into anybody's laptop is to have it plugged into the wall all the time. And when you think about it like that, you say, okay, that makes sense. It's a little more secure.
Well, what do you think of the fact that we can run without the internet? No other token in the world, XRP, can run with no internet. We can still transact. I don't know exactly how all that works. You know, I'm an ex-pizzeria impresario. What the hell do I know about?
No, I'm not. I'm
right?
with you there too. Yeah.
So I may be a little bit over my head, but this has been out there. I've read about it. I've seen videos about it. I know about it. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sure you know about it too.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's got that advantage. It's got the advantage of being able to, you know, be utilized for smart contract NFTs. You could use, you could do other
Yes.
tokens on it. It moves money at lightning speed. It could be scaled up according to Hodor, which we believe is the guy on the inside. If you watch a video called XRP Trillions of Transactions Per Second by Moon Lambo.
Well, first of all, my largest holding is XRP.
Well, I know
So
it is.
you're preaching to the
I know
choir
it is.
on all this.
So what I'm trying to get to something here. Just follow along. Bitcoin, when it was created to transact.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that very well because it's costly. It costs too much money to move from point A to point B. You can't build federated side chains on it. You can't build smart contracts
Correct.
on it.
Correct.
You can't do a lot of stuff on it.
Right.
So they had to create another bullshit story as far as I'm concerned. And I could be dead wrong.
Yeah.
That it's a store of value. Gold,
Correct.
the solid gold content, the actual gold, your telephone, for example, these microphones that we're on right now, I'm sure they have a little bit of gold somewhere in there, and this conversation cannot be conducted without.
Yeah.
And silver, same thing. So it's got usability. XRP arguably has tremendous usability on many, many levels.
Right.
The fact that it can be scalable to 3.5 trillion transactions per second, which I don't believe we never need to go to that number.
No.
If it goes to 1 billion transactions per second, we could scale it to that number. I think we got enough to be able to take care of the entire world. However, Bitcoin arguably really doesn't have a utility whatsoever, zero, other than the fact that they call it a store of gold and it's scarce. And just because something is scarce but has no utility, that doesn't mean it should be allowed to exist. I personally think it should go to zero. Not that I want it to go to zero, because I know friends of mine that have Bitcoin. I'm trying to tell them to take their Bitcoin and put it into XRP. That would be the smart thing to do. I was able to get a lot of multi-millionaires to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, really, people with tremendous bags. I make my bags and your bag look like welfare cakes.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? And so my argument is very simple. Utility should win the day. Lawsuit is only on XRP. There's no lawsuit on Bitcoin. Gee, we don't even know who the CEO of Bitcoin is, right?
Well, Bitcoin would be really hard to drag into court. How do you do that?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So I don't.
So
that argument.
the
doesn't hold
one
water.
that has the lawsuit, the biggest lawsuit in history of finance.
Let's go back to the use case.
Right.
Okay, I hear that argument a lot. There's no use case for Bitcoin. Although you know that there were more than $20 trillion last year transacted in Bitcoin.
Of course, sure.
Larger than any other bank.
Yeah.
Okay. So how would you not call that a use case?
Well, just because somebody wants to transact in it and pay those fees just to prove a point doesn't make it, efficient.
No, that's right. But it does.
The
prove
Gary
use case.
Cardones of the world would probably do that just because
Right.
he cannot stand, for example. And this is where I differ, and I think you might be on the same page with me. I believe that you have a lot of. I don't want to call it common sense, because if it was common, everybody would have it. It's either good sense or
scarce sense.
or scarce. You either have it or you don't, right? So the bottom line becomes this: you know that the XRP does what it does. You understand how it works. You understand the mechanics of it. Just because you want to prove a point, and you're a Gary Cardone who's a Bitcoin aficionado, or a Bitcoin Nancy, as they're casually known as.
I've forgotten more about Bitcoin than that man.
Right. Just because I want to make a transaction to prove a point, I want to buy that camera with Bitcoin, or I want to buy that car with Bitcoin, or that mansion with Bitcoin, just to prove a point, because that's the brand that I'm in love with. I'm not in love with Brad Garlinghouse. I couldn't care less about Brad Garlinghouse. I think he's a nice guy. I think he's a great leader. I think he's the right leader for Ripple. But I'm not in love with Brad Garlinghouse. I don't worship. I don't worship Ripple. I don't worship the logo. I'm not tribal in that sense. I'm tribal in the sense that I'm here for return on investment. I'm here to make as much money for me and my family. And if it was Bitcoin that does what XRP does, then I would be a Bitcoiner, right?
Sure.
Correct?
There's no way that you're going to get the ROI from Bitcoin that you're going to get from XRP. That's my opinion.
Right.
I'm not a financial planner.
Sure.
But
so
I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
But,
so where does
you,
why is all this tribalism? Why do you think this is?
Tribalism towards
Tribalism, like I like the logo, and I like the Satoshi Nakamoto story. I like the white paper. I like the way it reads. I like the fact that it's down with the banks, down with the institutions. We find out that
one of the things I like about it is what we just mentioned. Who are you going to drag into court? Who does Russia get a gun to their head and say, "Hey, fix"?
So, are you saying that it would be better?
I need to corrupt this.
It would be better for XRP to be a standalone token without a Ripple company behind it, because then there would be nobody to drag into court with Ripple XRP. That would put us on the same level playing field. From
I would say that's more
standpoint.
Decentralized. Yes.
Okay.
I would say yes. However, do I love that Ripple's there and there's 900 employees promoting that coin? No, I love that. But that's more traditional business.
You know, I'm the guy that actually backed Satoshi Nakamoto into the corner, right?
Okay.
Did you know that?
No.
Okay. You never saw the video that went hyper viral on X and on YouTube and everywhere? Even
I
Ben
have my
Armstrong,
own views on who the man is.
Ben Armstrong. But I backed him to a corner because I said, you went and put a patent on blockchain technology in 1988. There about year 2000, you went and did some consulting work for DARPA. In 2007, 2008, the housing bubble happened. In 2009, Bitcoin is born, and you're there.
Yeah.
We were placing you at the scene of the crime.
I didn't see the video, but I've heard the theory.
And I said, I'm going to watch your body language now. I said, don't make any funny moves. I'm going to read your body language. Right?
Yeah.
And the conversation basically ended to where he said, yeah, you're right. I may very well be one of the main Satoshis.
Okay.
Did you know about that video?
No, but I've heard the theory.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And he's admitted to this.
Yeah.
That he may very well, because he's really brilliant when it comes. Is it possible? Look, there are no coincidences. 2008, the actual patent gets filed. 1988. You have dial-up internet. You have to wait for high-speed internet to catch up. Blockchain is no good in 1988. It doesn't work because the internet's not there
You're trying
yet.
to get me to sell my Bitcoin, aren't you?
I am. I know a broker, by the way.
Yeah.
So anyway, so now you go to year 2000. He goes to work for DARPA as a consultant. Whether he's there as a consultant or as an employee is irrelevant. He's there.
Right.
He's at the scene of the crime.
Right.
2007, 2008, you have the housing bubble. 2009, Bitcoin is born.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Bitcoin is slow. It's clunky. It costs a lot of money to move. It uses up a lot of energy.
When it was
the only guy that can go
wasn't,
back,
but yeah.
the only guy that can go back and fix Bitcoin, is the main Satoshi Nakamoto, as he has admitted to me, David Schwartz, right? And boom, all of a sudden, XRP is born months later.
Right. Okay. And
is that possible?
The question is it possible?
Is it possible that he is?
Oh, sure, of course. Yeah, I'm not. I have my own views on who I think it is, but I don't.
Who do you think it is? I'm curious.
It's a long show already, but
sorry for keeping you extra innings.
Yeah.
But But this is very interesting.
There's a outside possibility that we all know who Vitalik is. Okay? Mm-hmm. He was pretty young when he created Ethereum. Mm-hmm. And look into his father. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to leave it at that. I've approached a few people that I know pretty well.
It might be more than one person. I'm not doubting that, and I got him to say that he may be one of. So, which means there's more than one, right?
The one thing I would like to say about that subject is every time I hear somebody say that Homeland Security knows who it is and they questioned them and all that, I just want everybody to understand that Homeland Security is less than credible for anything. It should have been called Homeland Surveillance, not Homeland Security. That's my opinion of those people. Mm-hmm. Now, so I don't take their word for anything. So I hear a lot of YouTubers tell me, oh, that's who they are. They know who they are and they interviewed them. Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe. It doesn't matter. Does it matter who created the internet? Does it matter who created the wheel? Does it matter who created beer?
No.
No, it really doesn't.
It matters it tastes good.
That's right. So my point is, does it really matter who created it? And I said, well, you know, how can you sell something if you don't know who created it? Like, well, good luck with that. You know, you use the internet every day. You have no idea who created it. Mm-hmm. Right? So explain to me how electricity works.
Nobody really knows.
Yeah.
Unless you're an electrician.
Yeah. And we're pretty
master electrician.
And we like it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think we're moving into an era, because we've heard now, I'm sure you know who Patrick Bet-David is, the Iranian guy. Mm-hmm. A lot of people follow him. He's multi-million listeners. Uh-huh. He's able to figure out a way to stay under the radar. Obviously, he's got the best minds.
A very intelligent man.
Extremely.
Yeah.
One of my favorite shows, and hopefully I can get to be Patrick Bet-David at some point down the road, and I believe I will. And I believe you will, too.
I believe you will.
But, you know, it's going to come down to money and resources, and hiring the smartest people in the room have to be smarter than you.
Agreed.
Right? And
that's why I watch the channels that are smarter than me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's a little. I only watch YouTube channel. Somebody asked me last night, "What do you watch, Alan?" Mm-hmm. I thought it was a really great question. I get a lot of questions when I meet a lot of people. I watch channels that, for number one, they teach me something, and I only watch channels that pretty much have made money, lost money, and made money again. Mm-hmm. Those are my favorite kind of people. I resonate with those kind, because I've been wealthy twice and I'm not now.
Yeah. And so have I. But anyway, needless to say, the reality is that he's come out and said, we want to know what is in those 6,000 patents. Patrick Bet-David is talking Nasara Jasara language, 6,000 patents is in the document.
Yeah.
And he knows. And he said, basically, at the end of this little short video that I've been passing around like a joint at a Grateful Dead concert, that he wants to know what is inside those 6,000 patents, because we are entrepreneurs, we're capitalists.
Sure.
We want to know, we want to capitalize.
That's right.
Right? Do you think that some of those technologies could be free energy technology, where we can grab energy out of the ether of the earth? The technologies that have been lost with Nikola Tesla, do you think there's going to be antigravitic travel? Do you think that there's going to be reverse osmosis of everything? Do you think that we'll be able to travel without having, you know, we're still driving in a Model T Ford extension, right? 4 rubber tires.
Yeah.
We're still flying in something that resembles a bird that's made out of metal, and we have to go through a checkpoint that gives you, all kinds of, can cause havoc on your system.
I think if they'll allow and support technology, and they'll use it wisely, and they support people with great minds like Elon Musk, which seems like we're doing now. I also would like to bring back a story that I know you know, that Donald Trump's uncle was in the room when they found the Tesla cabinets and the whole thing.
Of course.
Yeah. So I'd like to believe that they have a lot of that info and that they're going to bust it out. I'd like to believe that.
Do you think we'll see that in our lifetime?
Well, mine's a little shorter than yours, probably.
You're not that much older than I am.
I'd probably say slowly, gradually, and then really quickly, to some degree. I don't know about flying cars, but I'm down with almost all the rest of it. Yeah, sure.
They've had it.
Yeah.
You know, look, it's really...
Yeah, but I don't know about you, but every time I drive, I think, good Lord, thank God he wasn't flying that rig. right?
Yeah. Well, because you're not going to be in charge when you fly the car. We're going to have artificial intelligence that you and I will not be able to explain, and you're going to get from point A to point B very, very quickly. And it's going to be through a vacuum. It's going to be through other means that you and I don't need to understand. It's like you don't even understand. Are you a mechanic by any chance?
Yeah.
You are, okay, but you're the rare case. But the average person that is not a mechanic who buys a car, doesn't understand how the engine works, but yet he gets in, turns on, and goes,
diesel
right?
Than I am gas, but
Right, and so we don't really need to understand everything. We just need to. But think about the fact that we've been enslaved to a point where, again, I like to zoom out and get a 100-foot view of. You're born into this world. You're being traded on the stock exchange. They fingerprint your feet. Your Social Security is being traded. We're all worth all of this money that we can't get to because nobody's ever going to come and knock on your door and teach you how to do it. All right, and the people who have gotten close,
agreed,
they literally shut down those departments.
That's right.
The day after, and I know a few military people that have done that successfully. Not successfully to where they got their money, but successfully enough to where they said, "Hey, these guys are getting too close to the fire. Shut down the fire pit."
Yeah.
Right. And so that's been going on. So my question to you, I guess, is we're living in a world where we have to wake up and we'll go to work in the morning, raise a family, and we're part-time job, full-time job, 2 part-time jobs just to make ends meet while somebody else is in control of inflation, in control of spraying you like a lab rat, in control of how long you live, only to retire at 65 if you're lucky to get there, and if you're lucky to live another 20 years. So you do all of that work.
Yeah.
Right? For 20 years of freedom if you're lucky. That's if you're somewhat healthy like Mel Carmine and like Alan, right? And you get to live to be maybe 85, 90 if you're very lucky, right? Do you think that's worth it? Don't you think that humanity has got to come to a point where we need to grow up and say, you know what, allow the technologies to exist. Let's get those 6,000 patents out. You don't need a guy to plant tomatoes, potatoes, carrots, and celery. We have technology that's controlled by satellites. Let's do that. And work takes on a whole new meaning where you're working on yourself, you're working out, you hire a better personal trainer, you have a better diet, you learn how to grow your own food perhaps because that tickles your fancy or it's therapeutic, right? This work, who invented this? Who is enslaving everybody?
Well, it goes back to when we started the show. It's all about control, right? We also needed it on a physical world. Now that we've gone more digital and we've released it slowly, like I mentioned, technology comes out kind of slow. We're going to need less of that. And you're going to have more free time. Our kids already have more free time than we had. And the generations before. My parents work like dogs.
Do you understand why we are not that popular? Because they don't want seeds like this, like I just said, to be planted in people because they're going to start asking fucking questions that they can't answer. And they don't want to answer.
That's right. But they're going to blame it on technology. And they're also going to say that, well, technology, the one thing that a lot of people don't understand is technology makes everything in your life easier and cheaper. But what they've done is push the printer, if we'll call it, the inflation to make up for what you and I should have been more and more comfortable all along. And they do that with the printing digits. It's not actually how it works, but you know what I'm saying. In layman's terms, they're just making more money to make up for what the deflationary value of technology would have made for your life. So that's done. Is it intentional? Yeah, probably. But they're coming to the point now where AI and robotics are going to change your life.
Everything. It's either going to be for the better or the worse. It all depends on who the technology ends up in the hands of who.
I agree, but I also think that people are not going to settle for the bad technology of AI. I just don't believe that.
That's why we need to wake up more people to get. We got to get the Todds. Where's Todd? Todd's over there.
He just looked.
Oh, he left?
Yeah.
We got to get the Todds of the world to get a microphone and get obnoxious.
I know. I beg the man daily. There's some really smart people out there.
Oh my God, a lot smarter than you and I, for sure.
Oh yeah, and I study a lot about AI 3 or 4 years ago. I'm shocked that's not here to any more degree than it is. But the one thing that I'm really interested in is this, and this is the human element that a lot of us are really missing. Spend less time on your laptop and spend more time outdoors, because you're going to be able to do that
Natural scalar wave.
Yeah, it's perfect. And what's going to happen is, don't be afraid of AI. Use it to your advantage, because if you don't, it's going to use you to its advantage.
Yeah.
So you stay on top of it. Your life will evolve with it, and you're going to have more time. So when you look at like going to retreats in Sedona, my wife and I were in a retreat in Sedona last week. It was unbelievable. I was like, I need to do this more. I got my feet in the stream, and I'm fly fishing. I'm like, I need to do more of this. We're going to have more opportunity to do that going forward. So all the human jobs, if you're out there thinking, what am I going to do for a living going forward? All the human tactile experiences with each other, like this meetup, is what we're going to do more and more of. Because you're going to have more time to do that. You're going to have more freedom because of AI and technology and robotics.
And because technology, they have technology that knows 6,000 patents that can allow us to live a very, very long time.
Agreed.
And they don't want that technology. I happen to, my wife and I own that technology in Cape Canaveral. As a matter of fact, if you ever come down, I'll give you, for doing an interview with me, I'll give you and your wife an overnight free of charge, okay,
Nice.
a voucher that doesn't expire. And you'll understand what it is we have. And we're not allowed to advertise that technology. For example, I'll give you an example, make you laugh, and maybe good for your audience as well to know. And I came across this stuff because I'm constantly digging. I love rabbit holes.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is, we advertise that, hey, we got people on camera crying, say, hey, that thing that starts with a C and ends with an R. I don't have it anymore. That's because of the EE system. Okay,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're not allowed to advertise that, because if you do,
that's right.
If you do advertise it and you pay for it, it's not even being seen. They're sending robots over to my website to allow me, or to give me the illusion like I'm getting visitors to my website. The last time I checked, bots don't have any money to spend to come into the healing center.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
So it's all an illusion. So we got to figure out a different way to do it. And I think we have figured out, at least on paper, that we're about to unleash. So they're going to do everything in their power to try and stop us. And so I understand more than anybody. Do we still have a lot of camera battery life?
Getting close.
Getting close? Okay, no, we'll keep going. We'll keep going.
We should wrap it up.
Two more minutes. We're going to wrap it up in 2 minutes.
Okay.
So I am one of these people that is relentless, because I understand the future. I see the future. Mm-hmm. And I'm not willing to give up. Never, under any circumstances.
Agreed.
So, we have a situation here where, yes, the XRP and the XLMs and the XDCs is going to make a lot of people very wealthy. Mm-hmm. But how do we go forward to where we have a very long lifespan to be able to enjoy that? Mm-hmm. When these technologies are available to us, we want to know what's in those 6,000 patents. We want those technologies to become public domain, if you will.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we want to see this planet survive. Because it's important to the cosmos, whether there is a cosmos or whether we're a flat Earth. We don't know. There's that argument too. Okay.
Yeah.
So where do you see the next proper party? We'll end it at this. Where do you see the next proper party? I hate to put price tags, because I'm not a price tag kind of guy. I say always it's going to happen, but it's going to happen like a thief in the night. When you least expect it, we all wake up when we got our money. Right?
Yeah.
You agree? It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next week, and that's probably not going to happen next month either.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
I was talking about it all weekend. I really like May. I don't think April looks really good, just tax season, the rest of it. But I like May. They're going to print a lot of money. We already know that. They got $9 trillion due this year. That's coming. Mm-hmm. You have to remember that Bitcoin, Solana, and XRP all hit all-time highs without the M2 money supply. That's never happened before. The only time those coins have ever hit their all-time high, there was a huge money printing. Go Burr. That's never happened before, and it happened already. So that's interesting. That's, to me, institutional money, obviously. So I'm going to say 6 to 8 weeks after soon, and I think April 2nd, Trump is going to say something about interest rates and what he's going to do with it, or whatever, printing and some other things. That's going to trigger. So I'm going to say somewhere 6 to 8 weeks after that. I really think it's going to start in May. But that's going to be a gradual thing. That's not the bank close on Friday, open on Tuesday. It's a different number. Yeah, that's not that. So, yeah.
Alan, how do they find you? Tell them your channel. I love this interview. We'll give you a copy of it as well. You can put it on your channel as well. and you could tell him that Mel Carmine does one hell of an interview, even though this was supposed to be a conversation. It did end up being an interview because I'm an asshole, and it is what it is. But I think I had a lot of fun doing this. Did you have fun doing this?
I had a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really watch a lot of your material. I love the Molly Elmo's interview.
Oh, she's amazing, isn't she?
Yeah, I love her.
She's a brainiac.
I called her last week and was hoping she'd be here, but no, she couldn't make it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that'd be fun.
Can we see you at the next Quantum Summit Part 3? We don't know exactly where it's going to be, but it's going to be.
You invited me to last year, 2 years ago, last year.
Yeah.
And I couldn't make it.
Yeah,
for
Rob
whatever the reason
007 was actually one of the MCs with Molly Elmore at that event. Yeah, and it was great.
I'd love to. I'll check it out.
We'd love to have you on a panel. I think we might be in a position to where maybe we're not going to be billionaires, but maybe we might be 50 millionaires or 60 millionaires because maybe the XRP is maybe $50 or $60.
Well, if it's 60 bucks, you might never hear about me again.
No, same thing here, but what else we're going to do with our time? We're not allowed to leave the planet.
I'm kidding.
I know you are.
Yeah.
But we'll see you at the next Quantum Summit then, brother. It's a date. I had a pleasure.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming.
You got it on
Staple Crew on the Staple Crew on YouTube, guys. Go follow this guy, and you know where to find me. So thank you.
Thank you, Mel.